Welcome back to the Hot Dish. I have a very special guest, former Congressman Beto O'Rourke, and we have to say, former fellow at the Institute of Politics at the University of Chicago, a big fan favorite for all those students. They're still talking about you. But we want you to be doing most of the talking because people are so interested in what's happening right now in Texas. And you have been fighting this kind of thing, this autocratic moves from the governor, from the people in Texas for so many years. Tell us where you think it's at right now. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Heidi, it's great to be with you. And thanks for inviting me to join you and to talk about what's going on in Texas, because I don't think there's a more important fight in the country right now. This one in Texas is for all the marbles. And to bring everybody up to speed, Donald Trump called our governor, Greg Abbott, and asked him to find him 5 congressional seats in Texas. He wants these 5 congressional seats because his program right now of cutting millions of people off of Medicaid, which hurts all of us, but it really hurts rural communities. It shuts down hospitals in some of these more remote counties and places like the Panhandle in the state of Texas. His Gestapo tactics that are terrorizing the hardest working Americans across this country. His massive transfer of wealth from working Americans to the richest 1% in the country. This stuff isn't popular no matter where you go, and he'll lose control of the House. So he's asked Abbott to redraw the maps in Texas to give him 5 congressional seats that Republicans can easily win, they hope. And the Republican legislature in Texas, thick as thieves with these guys, was just about to do this when 56 state House Democrats in Texas broke quorum, left the state, and denied the Republican counterparts the numbers necessary to certify these new rigged maps. And Heidi, as you know, they are all over the country right now. Some are in Illinois, some are in New York, some are literally God only knows where. I don't know. But they're leading this fight, not just for the people they serve in Texas, but for all of us wherever we live in America, because if they are successful and we win a majority in the House, we're only 3 seats down right now, then there will be a check on Trump's lawlessness. There will be accountability for his corruption and his crimes. And there will be the prospect going forward, including in 2028, of free and fair elections in America. If we all fail, and I think this one is on all of us to support them, and I think we're all in this together, but if we fail, and if Trump is successful in this steal, if he maintains control of the House of Representatives, then I think this consolidation of authoritarian power in America is going to be nearly unstoppable. And that means more masked, plainclothes, federal agents without warrants or badges sweeping up our fellow Americans off the streets. It means more of Trump's political opponents targeted for retribution, for violence even. And it means that it is more likely than not that a Republican-controlled Congress will roll out the royal red carpet for a Trump third term. So those are the stakes of the fight. And these 5 seats in Texas are for all the money on the table. And so I just want to make sure everyone understands that the election of 2026 is about to be decided in the summer of 2025 based on what we do or fail to do at this moment of truth.
You know, one of the questions that I have is obviously this map was gerrymandered to begin with, Beto. I mean, that, you know, they've had total control and they drew this map to favor Republicans. Could they be, in fact, diluting some Republican districts and actually end up, you know, kind of be careful what you ask for, because you now have made a +10 district, a +2 or +3 district. The other thing I want you to comment on is the impact that this has on the population of Texas, which is majority minority. People don't realize that Texas is one of the most diverse states in the union, and they are clearly drawing these maps to diminish the capability of minority people to basically get representation in Washington.
These are both excellent points. On the first, you're absolutely right. In order to rig these maps so that they can pick up 5 seats that are currently represented by Democrats, all of them Democrats of color or women, they will have to move Republican voters out of what are so-called safe Republican districts into these more competitive or Democratic-dominated districts. They'll have to move some Democrats out of those districts into Republican controlled districts. And in other words, they may make pre-existing Republican represented districts far more competitive. And we may be able to win, even if they redraw the maps for those 5 districts, we may be able to win those districts because the margins will still be pretty tight. But we might have tighter margins in the old Republican districts as well. And folks have called this a potential dummy mander, which means that you exceed the possibility of your reach in terms of what you're able to deliver for your own party, and you open up a front that never existed before for your rival party in Texas. So this is actually a pretty precarious play that they're making. And one of the tracks that we have to be on right now is reaching out to and registering the voters in these, both in the proposed gerrymandered districts and in the pre-existing Republican-dominated districts, so that we have enough net new voters to be not just competitive, but to win. So that's just absolutely critical and something that we've got to do. The other thing that I'd like to see us do, in addition to that and supporting these Democrats who've left the state, is to encourage Democratic governors who have the political trifecta of their General Assembly or their House and their state Senate and the governor's mansion to redraw their own districts to Democratic Party advantage. You and I both agree that members of Congress should not be able to choose their own voters. You and I both dislike gerrymandering. You and I both have been part of the good government team that has asked for citizen-led commissions to redistrict this stuff so you get it out of the hands of politicians. But I hope we both agree that you cannot unilaterally disarm it. If the other side is going to rig this game and then use that to consolidate authoritarian power and end what Lincoln called the last best hope of earth, that is government of, by, and for the people, then we have to play with every single thing that we have got, regardless of what the old norms and rules used to be, especially for our party. We've got to be focused on winning power. And that's the way that I look at it right now, given the fact that so many people that we care about, their lives are literally on the line depending on the outcome of this fight.
So, I think about this period of time, Congressman, about kind of, it's a turning point. The rank and file Democrats in this country are tired of people not fighting. They're tired of people kind of just going along and getting along as they see it. Now here comes these brave legislators out of Texas saying, look, I'm going to totally upend my life to fight for democracy. It is inspiring, and it's inspiring a lot of Democrats. But how now we're talking about the FBI going out and investigating them. How intimidating is that to these folks? And you, as a former congressman, what can Democrats in Congress be doing right now to stop the federal authorities from getting involved in local political issues in Texas?
Well, first of all, I just love what you had to say. My friend Joaquin Castro, who I think you know pretty well, who represents a congressional district outside of San Antonio, said something to the effect of, this is a season for fighters only. We don't want people who are going to roll over, who are going to submit, who are going to bend the knee. There are plenty of people in America doing that right now. These big law firms, Harvard University, Columbia University, Brown, others who've made settlements. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, literally presenting Donald Trump with a gold-plated iPhone. Like, here is this bar of gold, Mr. President. Now will you protect my company from the tariffs that others will have to pay? I mean, this may be legal, but it is corruption by any other name, and we've got to fight it. And one of the things that I think you will really love, or you do love about this moment, given your life and your service and the fights that you have waged, is we're not just going to the obvious places, to the bright blue cities and to the places where Democrats usually dominate. Last night I was in Oklahoma City, and we had a crowd of more than 1,500 people who came out. And that city sits in the 5th congressional district, which is a district that we can win in November of 26. The night before, I was in Omaha, Nebraska, currently represented by Don Bacon. He's retiring. We absolutely have to win that. If we don't win that district, we're in the wrong business. Last year, I was in Minot, North Dakota. We had a big group that came out. And listen, these are folks, as you know full well, who don't really define themselves by party affiliation. There's some great, lifelong Democrats, some great lifelong Republicans. And then there are folks who say, you know what, I'm not so sure that politics has ever really worked for this country. It hasn't certainly worked for my family. I'm coming out because I'm curious. I want to know if someone's going to stand up and fight for me. And when we show up and listen to these folks who come out to these meetings, no matter where we go across America, and we talk about the things that we're fighting for, like making sure that they can see a doctor, like their kids are going to a school that is fully funded and the teacher doesn't have to work a second or a third job to make ends meet, that farmers are making enough on what they produce and grow to be able to pass that land on to their daughter or their son or the following generation, because too many feel like they have to sell or subdivide right now. If we're literally there to be with them in this fight, then they are going to be with us in our pursuit of power, both to stop Donald Trump and these terribly destructive things that he's doing to our country and to the people we love in our families and in our communities, but more importantly, to be able to deliver on the big hopes and promises that the Democratic Party should represent, like making sure that whatever work you do, that one job is enough for you to be able to survive and to provide for your family. Like you can always be able to see a doctor so you're healthy and well enough to go to work or go to school or raise your family or do whatever you are placed on this planet to do, so that you can afford to buy a home if you work at it, because too many people are working at it right now and just can't afford one and feel like they will never be able to afford one. I mean, this aspirational, bold, ambitious agenda is the kind of thing that we have to be sharing with people, but we got to go everywhere. We can't do it on the internet. We've got to be there in person. And I know you know that because that's how you won political power and used it to make the lives of the people in your state that much better.
The most important thing that you've talked about is I think people just like Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. You cannot win this fight without actually having some ideas of your own. And you just outlined what I think is absolutely the essential 2026 message, the 2028 message, why we're different, where we're going to go to deliver that message. And the thing that I always say, Beto, is, you know what? If you can sell your message in Minot, North Dakota, you're going to win some swing districts in New York. People want to divide this country, but what people in this country want is so similar, whether you're in Minot, North Dakota, whether you're in New York, whether you're in El Paso, Texas, places you and I know well. And so I know you're on a short time span. I hope you'll come back and give us more words of wisdom. I know people are really, really excited that you're out there, that you're doing what needs to be done. Tell us what your plans are for the next 40 days to be the spokesperson for this incredible movement that is being initiated out of Texas.
You know, these 56 Democrats in Texas who are the tip of the spear, who've left the state to deny Abbott and Trump the quorum necessary to steal these maps. You know, they're being pursued by the governor, who has threatened to charge them with second-degree felonies. He has threatened to vacate their seats. He actually filed with the Texas Supreme Court to remove them from office. He has sent out the Texas state troopers to hunt them down. John Cornyn, our senior senator from the state of Texas, just tweeted that he has an agreement with Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, to send federal law enforcement after them. They're being fined $500 a day every single day that they're outside of the state of Texas. And so this is coming at extraordinary personal and then, certainly political risk to each and every one of them. So I'm doing what I can to rally people to the cause and ensure that folks support them. I mean, financially for sure, but also just the kind of the moral support and the encouragement. They need to know that all of us are with them right now and that we're grateful for what they're doing. So these town halls that I'm holding everywhere, and I mentioned a few of the cities that I've been in tonight. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana. Tomorrow I'm going to be, or day after tomorrow, in Fort Worth, and Sunday in Abilene, Texas, one of these rural communities that we've got to show up in and listen to people in. I just want to make sure that everyone knows that this is the fight of our lives and it's taking place right now. And if we're waiting or hoping or praying for someone to come in and ride to the rescue, or if we labor under the illusion that we can be active in 2026 or even 2028, God forbid, and that will be sufficient, I just want us to know that if we wait and the moment has passed before we have begun to fight, it will be too late for all of us and for this country. On the other hand, if we all band together and join in, rural and urban alike, Democrat and Republican alike for that matter, because at the end of the day, we're more American than we are anything else. If we stand to be counted at this moment of truth, I'm confident that we're going to come through. So, Heidi, I'm going to stay focused on this. Our group is called Powered by People. We're rallying folks all across Texas and the country to join this fight and to make sure that we win it. And so thank you for letting me join you today and to speak to you and to your audience. And please keep up the great work that you're doing.
So, Beto, you've been everywhere, and I know the people who are listening want to know, how can they keep track of you? How can they keep track of this movement? And how can they help? Let us know.
Pitch in by texting the word fight to 20377. And when they do that, they're going to get a text message back from us that gives them an opportunity to donate. And the donation, 100 cents on the dollar, goes directly to those Texas Democrats who are breaking quorum right now and doing their best to fight for this democracy and our country. And so we would love, and they would love, to see that support from everywhere around the country. And then for folks who are interested in the other work that Powered by People does, it's voter registration, it's fighting voter suppression, it's engaging with young and new voters to make sure that we help them turn out in states that are heavily voter suppressed, like the state of Texas. Our website is poweredxpeople.org. And you're welcome to join us and volunteer with us wherever you live in America. We could sure use your help.
You are an inspiration, and you've never given up the fight in spite of all of the obstacles. You are incredibly motivating, and I feel like I should be going door to door and fighting for these folks right now too. So, congratulations! Keep us posted. I hope you come back and talk on the podcast again. You are always welcome on the Hot Dish, and certainly you're always welcome in North Dakota or any part of the rural country to spread the message. Thank you so much, Congressman, for everything that you're doing.